Hey guys, Drifter here. Welcome to Black Ops 2 In-Depth. In today's episode, I'm going to be going over the AN94 Select Fire, finally, and we're also going to be talking about how to shoot down a Hellstorm Missile very easily, and I've got a few other little topics to talk about. It's kind of like a catch-all in-depth today, but let's start with the AN94 with Select Fire. The gameplay that you're seeing right now is me using a suppressed AN94 with a grip, just running some kill confirmed. I accidentally lost the beginning of the gameplay, but it's not too important anyway. It's just important that you see how the weapon performs. A normal AN94 has two fire modes built into the gun. The first two bullets that you shoot will fire at 900 RPM. That means when you just squeeze the trigger and hold it down, your first two rounds shoot at 900 RPM, and then your third round slows down to 600 RPM, and every single round after that slows to 600 RPM. This is in fully automatic mode, and I thought it would be very good to make specifically clear that you can do this multiple times without reloading. It's not the first two bullets in the magazine, just if you squeeze your trigger and you shoot 2-3 bullets and you let go and then you squeeze it again, the next time you squeeze the trigger it's going to shoot two more at 900 RPM. So the optimal way to use this weapon to make it shoot as fast as possible is kind of tap your trigger or click your mouse really fast so that each shot is firing at 900 RPM and you can fire it very quickly. In this mode it does have two types of recoil, which is also kind of interesting. The first recoil, or the first amount of kick on the first two shots, is very, very small. I would almost say that it's no recoil, but it does have a little bit of kick and a little bit of wobble. After that, on your 600 RPM shots, it has some moderate recoil, but it's fairly predictable and it mostly just kicks up. As crazy as this sounds, that's exactly how this weapon works in real life. The AN94 Abkaban, if I'm not mistaken, is a Russian prototype weapon that's supposed to replace the AK-47, and they designed it such that the first two rounds shoot at 1800 RPM, and then the next for the entire magazine slows down to 600. And the theory is that the first two rounds will shoot faster than the person can feel or adjust for the recoil, and it's a very, very interesting weapon. It's not currently in mass production, if I'm not mistaken, but if the Russians like it, which is basically going to come down to if it's cheap enough for them to produce over the AK-47, that you'll probably be seeing more of it in the future, which is why it's in Black Ops 2. The Select Fire attachment on the AM94 changes it into a 2-round burst assault rifle, which, if I'm not mistaken, is the only 2-round burst assault rifle in any COD game, and it's the second 2-round burst weapon in any COD game, period. The Vector is also a 2-round burst SMG with Select Fire. When you put Select Fire on it, your two shots of your burst fire at 900 RPM, and it's a little 2-shot burst. There appears to be little to no burst delay. I've had a lot of comments from PC gamers saying that there definitely is burst delay, but since I play on console, I'm not able to squeeze the trigger fast enough to see it. I'll take your word for it. I'll say maybe there's a burst delay. I don't think it's a significant one. It's not like a big pause in between the two shots. You can pull the trigger and spam this very, very quickly. In this mode with Select Fire, since you never get to that 600 RPM, you're using the weapon kind of at its optimal potential and its optimal recoil pattern. It has very low recoil with the Select Fire attachment being used. It has some recoil. It will kick up a little bit, it will drift a little bit, but it's probably the lowest recoil assault rifle in the game as long as you're using Select Fire on it, and that's the same recoil pattern that you have without Select Fire, just so long as you control your shots and only shoot two at a time. When it comes down to my personal preference, I prefer not to use Select Fire. I prefer for my trigger finger to be Select Fire because I normally get the 2-round burst or maybe a 3-round burst at worst, and the recoil is quite manageable, and there are some times that I would like to put it in fully automatic mode and just spray. I got kind of a quirky tip to add to this in-depth today about the Hellstorm Missile. Apparently you can shoot these down as they're falling. A helpful subscriber sent me a message, told me to try this out. I tried it out. It was very interesting. It's also come to my attention that this went up, or one of the top 5 plays on iFlyIllini's channel, so I don't think I'm the first person to show this by any means, but it is very interesting. It seems to only take one bullet from any weapon pretty much to shoot down the Hellstorm Missile, just so long as it doesn't spread. If the Hellstorm Missile spreads out, you can't shoot down the little particulates, but if you're lucky and you're aiming up or somebody doesn't know what they're doing, you might be able to shoot it down and save your teammates. Worth a lot of points too, though I really don't think I'm going to have the skills to do this in the middle of a match, but it's kind of neat to look at. Well, that would be all for this episode, but I do have one extra special announcement for you. I want to talk about the puppy that I picked up yesterday. I was in Bonham, Texas, which is up north by Oklahoma where my brother lived. We found the little dog wandering back and forth between cars, actually darting under cars and like scooting around the tires, so we went and picked him up. and the dog seemed to be trying to go into somebody's house. I knocked on the door, nobody was there, but we took the dog with us. It had a collar, it had been shampooed, it is somewhat trained. Since it smelled like shampoo, we first went to the only pet grooming place in town. They hadn't recognized it. We went to the vets in town. They also didn't recognize it. It was a small town, so I didn't even think to ask for the chip scanner thing. We went back to the house a couple times. Finally, somebody was there. The person that answered the door said that they had seen the dog in the neighborhood and the dog had tried to come in previously, but it wasn't his. So we decided to take it back to Fort Worth, Texas with us. I went to the vet today and checked for chips. There is no chips. I've had a lot of complaints saying that I should have sent it to an animal shelter. The town where I picked it up in did not have an animal shelter. It was just like a cage at the police station, and they put them down, unfortunately. And the shelters here in Fort Worth, I have to pay to send the dog to the shelter. That's if there's space at the shelter, and then even if there's space, there's a very high percentage kill rate. So I found that the most logical thing to do was to try to give the puppy away somewhere here on the internet. So if you're interested in adopting this puppy, which is a small breed terrier mix male puppy, it's trained to sit. It seems somewhat house trained. Yesterday I said it was fully house trained. It tinkled a little bit in the corner after a big wrestling match with Ozzy, but it seems to prefer to poop outside unless it gets excited. So somebody's been training it. It's a good dog. It's a friendly dog. I want to give it away free to any subscriber, any fan, anybody in Fort Worth that'll take this dog, because if I send it to a shelter, it's probably getting put down. Please contact me on Twitter if you're interested in picking up a free puppy anywhere in the DFW area. I'm willing to travel. I just want to get rid of the dog. I can't have too many dogs here in the house because my landlord doesn't like that. And I would just appreciate it if any one of you helpful fellows would give this little pup a home. Well, guys, that's all for this episode. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you learned something useful. If you'd like to check out my previous episode on the Scorpion, you can click the link on the left. And if you'd like to check out my next episode, which should be on the full version, like the complete AN94 review, you can click the link on the right. As always, if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.